Today I want to talk to you about lifting. It can definitely keep us up at night, have us lose a few customers, gain a few bad online reviews. But the techniques that I'm going to show you today are going to put you at ease and definitely keep you from those troubles. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I am Paola of PaolaPonceNails.com, your source for soft gel nail education if you've been eyeing Kokoist products and want to dive deep into the knowledge of these, including advanced nail art and application techniques. Make sure to join the waitlist for our upcoming certification. This is again for Kokoist Japanese soft gel nail products. The link is in the description below. Let's dive in. So today we're going to be using Kokoist, and I'm going to help you solve all of your lifting problems without any primer or rough filing prep, because my goal and your goal, and I know your clients' goals for sure, is to really maintain the integrity of those natural nails, right? Hashtag natural nail goals. So we're going to learn how to apply our soft gel, our Japanese soft gel, without any bonder or primer, because it certainly doesn't need it. And again, I repeat, without any rough prep. So first, let's talk about why lifting happens and where does it happen. Okay, it is very common to get lifting on the cuticle area. But solving this mystery of why nails are lifting here at the cuticle area is actually very easy, and it's solved relatively fast and easy by nail techs when they use an e-file machine. So they'll get a diamond bit and their e-file, and then they will just kind of take that through the cuticle area and bada boom, bada beam, bada boom. They will have almost instant results the next time they see their clients, right? So a diamond bit is just anything that's like rough grit like this, okay? Looks something like that. There is so many varieties of diamond bits, and I definitely do have my favorites. I've outlined them in a video before, so after this video, if you want to check it out, then by all means do so. But the other place in the nail plate where we get a lot of lifting is the free edge. And why does that happen? The two most common reasons I find that we get lifting at the free edge is, number one, the nails at the free edge are very brittle, very thin, very damaged. The technician has thinned them down with an e-file too much. The customer has peeled them off, and as a result has had a lot of striations in the nail plate that result in bending and flexing, and then that peels the gel off, okay? The other reason why we get free edge lifting, this is not the only reason, is that it's just customers, or maybe you if you're DIY, you are using the free edge of your nail tips way too much. So be honest here. Are you peeling stickers? Are you popping things open? Anytime you use your fingernails, wear and tear will happen, and you're going to have splitting of the nail because you have two components. You have a gel and you have a natural nail, and they're not married forever, okay? If you force them to separate, they will, but we want to avoid that, okay? So today I'm going to show you 3 techniques on how to master all of your gel nail lifting using just Japanese soft gel, okay? And again, the brand we will be using today is Kokoist, but if you follow this channel along, you can do this with Vetro or leaf gel, okay? So how to take care of the cuticle area lifting? Well, very simple. We are going to take our pusher tool and we're going to just scrape. You must know that cuticle is actually invisible, so it takes a little bit of scraping at about a 15-degree angle there. Scrape the nail slightly, ever so gentle. I recommend pushers that are sharpened. So this one here is a Stylists Expert 30. So Stylists Pro I get from Nationally Nails. They are one of our affiliates. You can definitely check out the description box below for a discount on it using my code. They are sharpened very, very slim so that you are able to somewhat scrape off of the nail plate, okay? Just letting the tool do the work for you. And then this end here, the scraping end of the cuticle pusher, is also sharpened. All right, so you can kind of go like this, okay? If you're doing this on yourself and you don't have an e-file, I strongly recommend that you invest or you buy one of these stone pushers. So it's like a pumice stone. It's great for personal use, but it's not disinfectable, so you cannot use it with customers. But it's great because you just bring it around that area in little circles and you will gently exfoliate that area, okay? So very gentle, very thorough, like so. All right, and then boom. And it's not rough at all, so you won't see marks or indentations on the nail, which is great if you're trying to protect the integrity of your nail. But if you want to take things a little bit further and make sure that there is definitely no lifting and you are working on natural nails, right, without an e-file, then I strongly recommend you use a 180 grit board file and just get in this little sidewall and up again, okay? You're going to be really thorough around here. So that's how you would take care of your prep without an e-file. And then of course, if you just use an e-file, then this spinning with a diamond bit, I really like this one because it's portable, great for your DIY. I did also a video on this recently. So I'm going to lock that in. If you're still not super comfortable with your e-file, no worries. Just take it at the low setting, but still try to let the tool do the work for you. And then you try to do this in one motion, I learned. So that 99% of the times is going to take care of lifting. So let's talk about the free edge. Now, I believe that you do not need to use anything rougher than a 180 grit sponge buffer. And you need that to go over the natural nail. Now, honestly, I've gotten away with healthy nails, keyword healthy, just by using a 280 grit sponge buffer on the natural nail, right? So I'll use the coarser side, the lowest of these two, so the 220, right? I think this is on the back side. And that's it, right? Like not super fast because I don't want to overly smooth it. But I think that if you're doing it on a client, definitely go for this unless your client is really, really sensitive to nail damage and she doesn't want that. Or this is still pretty gentle, but I mean, there are clients that are like getting nails done for an event and, you know, they just want them to last for that event and that's it. So always you have options. You can always just use something a little softer if that's the case. I almost guarantee you it'll still last a very long time, but I recommend you take a 180 grit just for consistent results across your clients. Remove the shine very slowly. I mean, not like turtle paste, but slowly, because what happens when you go like this, you know, really, really fast, you are actually smoothing the nail. And we don't necessarily want to smooth the nail unless we have to, right? Unless there's some imperfection that you're trying to smooth out. But otherwise, you're just going slow and you're taking it around that cuticle area. Okay, so you're going to come over here and then you want to clean underneath because sometimes, you know, things get stuck underneath. So I like to take my nippers and then just kind of clean underneath that free edge like so. Remove the dust before doing a thorough sweep with a lint-free towelette. Use your pusher because for years I used my nail and it just started causing damage actually on my nail plate. It started lifting it. So use your pusher. It also obviously will protect your nails if you got them done like I do, right? So, and it's even more thorough. You can actually apply pressure, you know, without hurting yourself, your nail, and really scrub that nail and pushing back the cuticle and create the cleanest of canvas because there's something with gel that it will literally attract like a magnet to anything, whether it's a dust speck or a hangnail or a piece of little skin, anything on the nail plate that gel is going to attract. So even though you're super careful about the margin, if it's there, if it sees it, it's just going to fall in love with it and it's going to attract. Okay, so we don't want that, right? Let's jump into our gel application. I'm going to stick to Mega Stick Base. And as the name kind of suggests, it is mega stick. It sticks on very well. It will work on like 90% of your clients, maybe more, right? And then, but what I mean by that is that some will need a little bit of reinforcement, and we'll talk about that with Excel Builder. We're gonna grab our base. We are going to grab our application brush. You grab whichever shape you like. I'm just gonna go back to my round. So I'm gonna grab round brush, and you always wanna designate a brush to your base, okay? Because it has the adhesion component, and that's important because builder doesn't, and you don't wanna scrub builder on this nail, because if you do, even if it's just a little bit from your brush, like residue from your last time of doing it, it's gonna cause lifting, and you're gonna be left wondering, okay, why are my nails lifting? So boom, that was actually like another tip of why nails lift, right? And how to master that. Designate a base gel brush to your base gel. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come from this way, and I'm gonna scrub my base in, scrub, 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 and then maybe comb it back this way. And guess what? I just took care of sealing the most problematic area, second to the cuticle area, maybe first for some, here in the free edge, by doing my scrub method like this, and then just combing it back. And you have to do this on all 10 fingers. I recommend you include this step in your soft gel applications for success, no matter what brands you're using. Again, if it's premium Japanese soft gel, this is my method. And you don't necessarily have to cure this. Move on to whatever method you're using to apply your gel. Okay. On the other hand, you can cure this, especially like on problem fingers like the thumb, the index, and the middle finger. And then it will just reassure that the application is going to last. Just a tip there, but you can just leave it uncured. I actually in the salon did these 3 nails, middle, index, and thumb, cured them, and I just proceeded with my application. So that is one way to fix lifting, right, at the cuticle area. And again, we're doing this without primer. Japanese soft gel does not need primer. And we're also doing this without roughening up the natural nail. So we have not used anything coarser than a 180 grit buffer, and we've just let the grit of the buffer do the work for us. Isn't that amazing? All right. So what is the second way to eliminate lifting with your Japanese soft gel here? Well, we are going to build it. So now that I've applied my little scrubby layer, we're going to call it the scrubby layer, I can cure it or leave it wet, either one, depending on how much lifting your client incurs or you incur. If you have problem lifters, if you're a problem lifter, go ahead and cure this, okay? I'm going to assume this is a nice, non-problematic client, right? So I'm just going to take my base gel and I'm going to go ahead and apply this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and tilt my finger down just a bit. And I want to take this layer and really solidify a perimeter, okay? So I'm using the edge of the bead. Believe it or not, the bead is actually like flattening out with a nice edge, and I'm using that edge. So I've done my slip layer, which is a wet layer, right? To solidify the perimeter and all of that. And now what I want to do is build this. Can your gel last if you just apply your gel base like this? Absolutely. Yes, it can. But we're talking about like lifting that makes you lose sleep at night, right? That you're like, what is going on? How can I improve it? Or you're like me, let me just get it right or do the hard work from the get-go, whether it is scrubbing on the edge or building this, and I'm just going to have consistent results, right? This is what we teach in our MGM program. And I'm going to charge a premium because I get to sleep at night beautifully, knowing that my clients' nails are lasting because of my method, okay? So I encourage you to do the same, just so you have consistent results and you never feel like, man, was it my fault or her fault? Now I want to build this, okay? And I think this is going to just give you all of the reassurance that you need, okay? So we're going to build it by adding a little bit of a thicker layer on here, on top of this wet layer. And notice everything is, you know, uncured up until this point. And I'm just going to float, 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 and bring it all the way down, tipping my finger downward. I'm going to let gravity pull that, because if I let gravity pull this bead down, guess what? My cuticle area is nice and thin. And then I'm going to take the point of my brush. So if you're using a square brush, you can take a corner, but I'm using this nice round brush by Kokoist, and I'm going to grab the point of it, and I'm just going to use its slimness to comb my gel down to the free edge, number one, And then the edges are super important. I'm not digging into this gel. Boom, look how beautiful that is, self-leveling. If you're wondering what hand I'm using, I do get a lot of compliments. It's the Aliana hand. And this thickness right here is going to provide all sorts of strength to my client. So this reinforcement layer was super special. We call that nowadays a structured gel manicure, and you can structure just with your gel base. You don't have to add a builder, and frankly, you don't even necessarily have to charge differently, because when you do an overlay, which is what I'm going to show you now, which is the third way to minimize lifting when we're using premium soft potted gel, which is, you know, what I've been using for many years and pretty much the only thing I use. I'm not going to build with my base. I'm actually just going to apply this nice thin layer of base. I don't want to say quickly, but you know, relatively quickly, right? I'm going to get my base on there and I'm going to send my client off to cure while I talk to you for a little bit. I didn't self-level that, okay? So there was really just a minimal amount of product applied onto that nail, and that was it, you know, like nothing. I can do that relatively quickly because think about it. When you do the first layer that we just did with the second way of how to prevent lifting, which is building it, you're still applying like a wet layer and you're being really precise. You're leaving it uncured, and then you're coming with a second bead of this gel, and then you are self-leveling that, right? So technically I did do 2 coats there, right? But if I'm going to do a builder, I still need a coat of this and I need a coat of that. So that's 2 layers anyways. So again, I'm just explaining that because you don't necessarily have to charge less. I think that I see a lot of nail techs falling into this, oh, well, this is just a gel manicure then, right? We're just charging less. No, make that way that I just showed you how to apply it with a slip wet layer. Make that your standard way of doing nails, because it's just going to ensure that your nails don't lift. Okay. All right. So let's review. Way number 1 was to scrub the base thin, right? We come in with our brush, we scrub it, we comb it through a little bit, we cure if it's a problem lifter. The second way was to build a structured manicure using our gel base. Now it's not a huge dollop, but it's enough to reinforce that nail. And then the third way, now we're going to get into the third way, is to use a soft builder gel to strengthen the entire application. And the reason why we do this is because sometimes we get lifting because this nail is too flexible and, you know, it's just constantly moving and pulling away from the product. Okay, so the way that we counter that is by adding a strengthening layer that keeps that nail from flexing too much. There'll still be a little bit of flex, but not that much. Okay, so we're going to grab our builder gel. We got our base gel cure. And now, remember we talked about designating a brush to our builder because it doesn't have curing components. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now with a flat brush. Okay, so I'm going to grab this and just kind of quickly apply a slip layer. I'm not even going to do it all the way. I'm just going to do right here. I'm going to self-level using my builder gel, which in the Kokoist brand is called Excel Builder Gel. It's like a medium consistency. I'm going to grab a big dollop. By big in Japanese soft potted gel formulas, it's actually not like a huge like hard gel or acrylic type bead. It's like really, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so then I'm going to apply it there. And then I'm just going to self-level this like I did with my base coat. Minimally making contact with the gel, letting it just self-level on its own. Pull it my finger downward so that gravity gives me a nice thin cuticle area. Guide it a little bit with the point of my brush. Turn the client's hand, let gravity do more of the work for me. Reinforce this nail, and this is also going to ensure that I get a nice strengthened application with no lifting. And then I would just go ahead and cure this. And that's it. That's the way that you will prevent lifting on literally every single one of your clients. You can use any of these 3 methods. Again, the scrubby layer, the building it with your base gel technique, or the reinforcing it with the Excel Builder. All methods and ways to prevent future lifting of your clients' nails. I hope you enjoyed these 3 tips using Kokoist today. If you want to get all the details on how to be Kokoist certified, this certification is happening in November. Please check out the description box below to get on the wait list or to start getting your materials. We are shortly going to start emailing that beautiful list of products that you need. And make sure you also sign up because you may be able to get the best price on this class coming up in November, but you got to get in right now to that wait list. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a merry start to the week, and I'll see you in the next one.